Okay folks, welcome to part 2 of our Battle Sim tutorial. This one is going to be the start of implementing our class. So I'm going to be using a class to store all the details for both of our players. Let's just go right in and start making it. So the way that I'm going to get into my code right now is I'm going to just double click on the main part of the form, and that's going to bring up our form 1 load section. That'll do us. We're not going to write anything in that section right away. We're going to make our class first. So remember, we've already got a class here. That means our class needs to be parallel to it, not inside it, parallel. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to create the class that we're going to store all of our characters' details in. So for that reason, we're going to make it a public class called character. Okay, now we need to decide on what variables we're going to include. I'm going to go with a very simplistic version of this. I'm going to have a public string called name. I'm going to have a public string, how do I spell, for type. Useless today. Next, let's give it an integer for our character's number, a public integer rather, public int for character number. That's going to help us tell them apart just by number sometimes if we need to. Not sure if I'll use it yet, but you know, can't hurt. And let's create a public double for HP. That's going to let us store not just full numbers in that, but also decimals. It's possibly the easiest version of the decimal to use. A lot of people use floating point. I do really use floating point a lot, but in this case I just wanted to use double because I find it a little bit easier to use a lot of the time. Okay, so remember these are our variables. Just going to put a comment in there for us. Okay, next we're going to make our constructors. Generally there are two main constructors you want to create. You want to create a, remember, public empty constructor. Oops. Okay, so that's 2 parentheses followed by 2 curvy brackets, and that's just going to be empty. We're not going to do anything with that. Then we're going to make another one, public character, and in this one we are going to input all of the details for our character. So we need a string, and I'm going to make the input n, comma, string, in the input will be t, then an integer that I'm going to call cn for character num, and I'm going to have a double, and I'm going to have HP with a capital H and a capital P. That will make it different to the other one, but you just have to make sure you put it the right way around. Next, we just need to make these all equal one another. While I'm doing this, this is probably a good time to point out that I'm not including attack and defense stats in this tutorial because this tutorial is aimed at a C grade. If you want to do that, that's a challenge for you, and that will get you some extra marks. So next we are going to show how you guys are actually going to implement this. So if we go back up to the top, we're going to create inside of our form 1 class, we are going to create we're going to create 2 basic empty characters. I'm going to call one player, and I'm going to call the other enemy. We're going to leave these empty for the moment. We're going to say what they are going to be filled with in our form 1 load. So we are going to create, right now we're going to create 3 more characters, and we're going to fill them with details. This first one is going to be Bulbasaur equals new character, and we're going to fill them with our details. Remember, that is name, which is a string. That is going to be used for displaying the names of our characters here. So where I've got Squirtle and Charmander, that is what I'm going to use for those when we're setting it all up by code. Okay, first Bulbasaur. Next thing is our type, and that is going to be grass. Next is our character number. I'm going to just make it 1, and then our HP is going to be 100. Honestly, all of these are going to start at HP 100. So for the moment, I'm just going to go through, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to remove that double HP there. I'm going to remove the HP equals HP. And I'm just going to say up here that HP equals 100. Because I don't intend on changing the HP for any of our characters. So let's just make life slightly easier for ourselves. We can set that to be 100, and that'll be 100 for everything we put in. Okay. Now let's copy this, paste it a couple times. It's gonna be annoyed at us for naming 3 things Bulbasaur differently. So let's go right ahead and fix this up. So the second one, if you know your Pokemon, you'll know the second one's going to be Squirtle. And the third will be Charmander. And please, let's spell them correctly. Unlike me, you just tried to call it Charmander. Okay, water, number 2, fire, number 3. Okay. So right now in our game, our current setup is our player is Squirtle, and our enemy is Charmander. Once we have a character selection set up properly, we're going to fix this up to be whatever the player chose in the last form. Okay, so that's the basics of what we've got there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our class to sort out all of our damage dealing. So we are going to create a method in our class, and we're going to call it, well, firstly we're going to make it a public void, and then we're going to call it take damage. Okay, we need to know what things we're going to send this. What I'm going to do is, for my attacks, I'm going to give them a certain amount of damage they'll do and a certain chance of hitting. So I'm going to make it damage and accuracy. So int damage and int accuracy. Because we can access the defender's HP and everything from right here, we're just going to say the enemy's HP is going to be minus equals is the modifier we're going to use. That'll take the HP and just take away this, and we're going to make it we're just going to make it damage. So the HP minus the damage of that attack. There's a couple ways we can make this a little more interesting than that. Let's go right ahead and put our accuracy in there. So that's going to require us to make a random number. So let's set up our random number generator. Okay. What I'm going to do for this is I'm going to say, for an attack to hit, it has to for an attack to hit, I'm going to say that it's essentially going to be the roll of a D10. So that's a 10-sided dice for anyone that's not pretty much at Games Club. So I'm going to say int roll equals R&D 1 to 11. And remember, when you're doing these, R&D next, sorry, R&D next. And remember, when you're doing these, that first number is included, the second number is not. Okay, So that will return a number from 1 to 10, including 1 and 10, but not 11. Okay. Next, we're going to say if our roll is greater or equal to our accuracy, then we're going to make our HP, we're going to remove that amount of damage from our HP. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's space this out. Let's make it a D20. So a 20-sided dice. So I'm going to use the first attack we're going to make is a fairly low damage one, but it's going to be fairly accurate. So I'm going to make it hit about, 4/5 of the time. So I'm going to make the 4/5 of 20 is going to be 4. So I'm going to make the okay. So to make this all make sense, let's go into our form and let's go into our form and double click our attack 1 button, and we'll start writing in the code for this. So when attack 1 is clicked, we are going to say enemy is going to take damage. They're going to take 10 points of damage with accuracy of 5. So that means they need a 5 or above. That means on 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's not going to hit. So that's a 4 out of 5 chance of hitting. Okay. Let's go and click on attack 2. We're going to make this fairly similar, but a little different. We're going to make it 20 damage. And we're going to say it's going to hit about 50% of the time. So we're going to say 11. Remember, for the way we've set it up here, we've got to put it in just over the line. So from 1 to 10, it won't hit. From 11 plus, it will. Okay, so that's pretty good. Our accuracy works there. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. We're going to put in critical hits. We're going to say if roll equals double equals, if our roll is 20, that is the max it can be. If they roll a natural 20, so if they roll the highest they can do, which is about, a 1 in 20 chance, then we are going to make it HP times damage, but we're going to times damage by 1.5. So that's not going to double it. It's just going to make it, give it a bit more oomph. It's not the best crit in the world. It's okay. We can tweak it later. We can decide later that we might want to make it times 2 if it's not feeling good enough. So if the roll doesn't equal 20, but it's still above the accuracy, then we're just going to make it a regular hit. Okay, now that we've got those two things set up, let's give it a go. Oh, it keeps missing. No, it doesn't. We haven't set up our HP sliders to actually move. So let's put in, I think I called it prog bar enemy, lovely. The value of which is going to equal the enemy's HP. Okay, you may remember that we made our enemy's HP a double and not an integer. We need to convert it to an integer to actually put it in this. I made it a double so that when we do critical hits and stuff, if you end up with something that will give you a decimal result, it won't freak out then. And then when you get to here, if you type in convert dot, make sure you leave a space there, otherwise it won't give you the IntelliSense stuff. So convert dot int30, convert to int32, and then put enemy HP inside that. it'll start behaving itself. Okay, let's take that same line, copy it, paste it onto that one. Okay, let's try again. Actually, before we try again, we're going to do something else. Now let's try again. I'll show you why. Okay, attack 1, hit, yay. That one's hitting fairly consistently. Right, good. That's what I wanted to show you. So, if our enemy's HP goes below 0, and we try to set the value of the progress bar, then it's going to freak out. The progress bar runs on a percentage. It has to be from 0 to 100. Outside of that range, it won't like it. So what we need to do is we're going to stop that from running. We're simply going to say if enemy.hp is greater than 0, then we are going to set the progress bar properly. If it's not though, else, then we will make the progress bar enemy's value 0. If it's less than 0, we're just going to make it say 0. Okay, let's copy that if statement, replace the progress bar setting on the other attack, and let's give it another go. Okay, attack 2 hits, attack 2 misses, attack 2 hits, attack 2 hits, attack 2 misses. Good. Attack 1 misses, misses, hits, misses. You know, as much as you can try to do chance, it's always gonna just be a matter of chance. Okay, I think that works pretty well. It's a decent mechanic. And there's good enough randomness in there that both of those attacks seem to have merit. Yeah. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good so far. Next time, we're going to set up that defend button. And then we can get on to some more stuff. Like, we might try to implement the type matchups and everything after that. So if you want to stick around for the quick intro to how to do attack and defense stats, let's do that right now. If not, I'll see you over in the next video. Okay, so let's go over to our code again, and we are going to go to our character class variables first. So it's just as simple as adding in 2 more public integers. I'm going to call this one ATK for attack, and the other one DEF for defense. So you are, of course, going to need to add in int A and int D to here, and save your attack variables in A. Oh, oops, made a typo. So here you're going to be storing your A that you're given in your attack and your D in defense. Okay, now over in our take damage, it's really easy. All we're going to do is we are going to put in brackets this little thing here. Okay, so in this case, this is the attacker's attack and our defender's defense. That isn't actually done, right? So we need to go here, get int enemy's attack, and let's fix that up. Okay, so the enemy's attack right now is going to be whatever they're attacking you with, and that defense is going to be your defense. If their attack is higher than your defense, then that multiplier will be about, let's say that their attack is 30 and your defense is 20, then that multiplier is going to be 1.5 because they will have a bigger attack than you. If you've got a defense of 40 and they've got an attack of 20, then that modifier is going to be times 0.5. So that is going to make the damage dealt to you lower. Okay, let's copy that and put it into the other one as well. It's some simple enough maths, but knowing when to do it is really the gold thing here. Okay, and after you do that, we've also said here that we need to get our enemy's attack, which means we need to change this here. In this case, because we are the enemy of the person taking the damage, that is going to be player.atk player.atk. Okay, so that should have our attack and defense stats done. We just need to set them in our characters. So I'm going to say that, I don't know, Bulbasaur can, let's make Bulbasaur even, 30 and 30. Let's make Squirtle 25 and 15. So 25 attack, 15 defense. And let's make Charmander a huge defender with 20 attack but 40 defense. So, you know, you can do that how you like. Feel free to customize it, work it out. You can make those numbers random if you really want to play with the player. Yeah, that should be about it for adding some extra stats to your game. Awesome, thanks. See you in the next video.